about 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, I was talking to one of my friends about diet, lifestyle choices, And long story short, he suggested I go carnivore. After carefully assessing the situation and thinking it over thoroughly for a full 10-second period, I said fuck it and went to the store to stock up on meat. So day one of carnivore diet with some fruits went pretty well. Also not that well. It's kind of hard to really get the calories in, but it's pretty good. I remember the first time I saw Joe Rogan post about going full meat mode back in January of 2020, I think, and I had my doubts, and I recall saying something along the lines of, "This dude is nuts. You can't survive on just meat." Well, it turned out he could, and he did. It was actually a pretty big success, if I recall so correctly. Well, of course, except for the explosive diarrhea, which I did not experience, thankfully. I think it was probably because I added some fruits to the diet, which Joe Rogan did this year as well. Probably something to do with that. Maybe it's also because I only did it for 7 days. But before I spoil too much without getting into it, let's, get into it. I want to talk about my expectations. I want to talk about the reality of what actually happened. And finally, the, advice sort of conclusion type portion of the video. My expectations going into this were, for the most part, pretty standard when it comes to diets. It was really mostly about the weight. The whole logic behind this was that if I eat mostly meat and some fruits, my calorie intake would be made out of a lot of protein, some fat, and a not too high amount of carbs from like an apple or a banana a day or something like that. It's been quite difficult for me to eat better for the last couple of months. So I thought going into this for even 7 days, it will give me that boost that I needed to start eating better and living a better lifestyle. Again. So here's what I was expecting to happen by the end of this 7-day period. It was really 3 things. A, weight loss. Big surprise. I was thinking that even dropping a kilo over this 7-day period would be a nice starting point for my 2022 weight loss journey. B, something to do with muscle. That's literally what I, wrote down. Like, I'm thinking, if I lose some weight during a period of time where I have a high intake of protein, that would result in better muscle, right? I mean, that makes sense to me. And C, irregular bowel movements. Not the prettiest combination of words, but definitely an important thing to talk about. A combo of past experience and listening to Joe Rogan or, following him on social media kind of led to me expecting either diarrhea or constipation as part of the meat package, if you will. That might have been the dopest sentence I've ever said in my entire life. What I expected did in fact happen. Number 1, I did lose weight. In fact, when I weighed myself on Monday, I was 2 full kilos down, which is, I think, for everybody that knows what I'm talking about, it is great progress for 1 week. The main difference, though, was that boost that I was talking about. In just a couple of days of eating healthy and being in a calorie deficit, I wasn't feeling bloated all the time, which just made me feel more energized, and it improved my level of general self-esteem. Number 2, the muscle thing that was supposed to happen. I would say that they became slightly more toned, although I'm still like a little bit fat, so like there's really very little noticeable difference. Third, by Friday, I was hella constipated. But I'm not going to talk too much about that, because, There's 3 things, though, that I didn't quite think about beforehand. That's the financial side of it, the lack of variety in my initial dietary plan, and the way my body would act up, so to say, during this changing phase. That's not how you say it. Let's start with the fact that this 7-day diet took quite its toll on my finances. Apparently only animal products for a full week has not cheap. Especially if you don't want to eat chicken 24/7. I mean, I didn't realize it would be a problem, but by dinner time of day one, I would have been ready to jump out of a fucking window if I had to eat that dry ass grilled chicken again. That's why I decided to spice things up a little bit and buy some beef and a little bit of shrimps the very next day, which really helped keeping me going. Even with like all of that variety, I was still eating a lot less calories than before, so my whole body was really tired and is going through, obviously, a lot of stress. In hindsight, I realized that that's why I ended up staying up until 3 a.m. playing League of Legends twice. I guess I'm into that now. It's really one of the most unfortunate consequences of this week, up there with irregular bowel movements. You know what I'm saying? Oh my god, and I almost forgot to mention this, but cooking the meat is extremely exhausting. Maybe not so much the actual act of it, but I had to stay for like hours a day to cook enough meat for me that I would have ate in like a day or two, you know? So it's really one of the toughest things about this, probably. The advice that I have for you is threefold. Number one, patience. You have to accept, just like with any other big changes in your life, that your body will, depending on your previous diet, your body will take its sweet time, adjusting to your new lifestyle. Number two, variety. This was a big one for me. I don't think I would have made it on just the chicken and turkey I had planned from the start. And there's such a huge variety nowadays with different types of meat. And I think for me, I think a lot of other people that experimented with this carnivore diet would agree that the best thing about it is the beef. Like, it's actually really good. Number three, enjoy the experience. It is, at the end of the day, it's an experience. It's something it's an experiment that you experience. It's just dope, Up until recently, I had forgotten how tasty and even fascinating meat can be. Especially, again, beef. I know this is weird, but goddamn, that shit is amazing. The sea creatures were a fantastic addition. And eggs. Eggs are freaking amazing, man. It's kind of mind-blowing if you think about it. I mean, you can boil them, you can fry them, you can put them in a shake, you can omelet them, you can scramble. Like, what can you not do with these things? Like, honestly, it's crazy. Might be obvious at this point, but I definitely recommend you try this diet out. It would turn out to be a much more interesting experience than I thought it would be, and I, definitely wrote about it in my journal, Oh, speaking of journaling, if you're interested in developing such a helpful and amazing habit, I have a great video on that. Oh, and where do I journal, you ask? On my MacBook Pro that I unboxed in this other amazing video that I made. Thank you so much for watching, and do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. See you next time.